Next Tuesday, the Institute will be 125 years old. And anybody, there are none of us 125 in this room, but I'm sure if we were, we'd be on Zimmer frames or we'd be on life support, or we'd be on some sort of chemical to keep us going. Fortunately, the Institute doesn't need that. It's in good shape, but like any organisation that has grown from 31 members when it first came together on the 14th of May 1888, and they elected their first president, Robert Gardner. We now have almost 22,000 members, and with members come various issues and challenges. And I'm just going to touch on some of the challenges that we face as we're almost on the eve of our 125th birthday. And the first challenge you see there on my slide is public confidence and reputation. And as the result of actions of a very small minority, our reputation has taken a battering and has been under the spotlight, particularly in the media in recent years. Be assured that we're doing everything we can to rebut and repair our reputation. The role of audit and the conduct of auditors have become issues for debate within the media, and public scrutiny is more pressing than ever. Confidence in statutory audit has been damaged. This has been acknowledged by the profession, by the regulator and by policymakers. The audit expectation gap, which is an often used phrase, is wider now than it has ever been before. People assume if you have an audit that it's an assurance that it covers everything. It doesn't, and people have to be educated, even our own members, to be aware of exactly what the focus of an audit is. We have sought to lead the debate in audit, and we have proposed new structures for regulation. While change is required, it must be change that is for the better. Currently, Ireland, as you're aware, holds the presidency of the EU, and the Barnier audit proposals are being discussed and progressed by the Irish officials at the Department of Jobs, Enterprise and Employment. The Institute has contributed to the debate, has continued to monitor progress on the issue, and continues its participation in the stakeholder groups to make sure that our voice is heard and that we are represented. On other matters in relation to representation, one of the big issues which we have pressed for, and we're making some progress but we haven't got there just yet, is the question of audit supervision and regulation. And we have called over the last number of years that the audit, supervision and regulation for public interest entities, that's large public companies and public interest organisations, be taken over by IASA. We have no issue with that. The larger firms have no issue with that. They actually welcome it, and we've called on the government, and I asked them again today to progress this matter. The issue apparently is that there is a difficulty in recruiting staff because of various embargoes, but we're going to continue to press that particular issue. Apart from the audit and our reputation, trust is a big issue for us, and I believe that trust is fundamental to who we are and what we do. And I'm concerned personally that the profession I joined as an article clerk, that's almost like a Dickensian term, but that's what I was in Limerick in 1972 when I joined W.H. O'Donnell and Company, is not what it was, and I feel it's incumbent on us to rebuild trust. It's a concern I know shared by many of you and shared by members of other professional bodies and professions as well. It's a concern that only we can address, and I believe that the key to this is our actions in showing that we understand why trust may have been damaged, that we acknowledge it may have been damaged, we listen to the public concerns, we respond by doing what they have asked us to do, what we've been trained to do, and above all, we act professionally and with integrity and ethically. We've worked hard to address the concerns raised by wider society on this matter, and we're continuing to do so. But our reputation rides on every one of you, all our 22,000 almost members. Each of you, by your actions each day, by acting in a positive, ethical manner, help to rebuild trust and display chartered accountants, as we should be shown as people that are trustworthy and people who act with integrity. We're also lobbying for an issue, and we haven't made progress, but we're getting there, and that's for protection of the term accountant. The Companies Bill, which was published late last year, is the largest piece of single piece of legislation ever published in this country. However, it has done nothing to provide protection for the term accountant. It means that in Ireland we still have a situation where people can call themselves accountants and they are totally unregulated. Each of us know that we are regulated. We have obligations to the Institute, to our insurers, to CARB. Other people can set up as accountants and they do not have the same restrictions on them. We're endeavouring to have it included in the Companies Bill so that there is some formal recognition for the term and that there is regulation and that we're all on a level playing field. It's very, very important for all of us. And you cannot set up tomorrow morning as a solicitor or as a dentist or a doctor or any of those professions, because if you do, you'd be closed down within a matter of hours. But you can set up as an accountant. And the public have difficulty, I have to say, distinguishing between a turf accountant, and they're very regulated. They have all sorts of rules and regulations, and practising chartered accountants. So we're working on that, and I know it's an issue that's very keen and close to the hearts of many members, particularly in smaller practices. We're also dealing with an issue which came to light only in recent days, and I have to look at my notes for this, and it's a letter that's been issued by one of the, at the time they were called pillared banks, but now I think they're called covered banks. Anyhow, one of the banks, I won't name them, and it's called Pre-Negotiation Non-Disclosure Undertaking Letters. And it was sent to me by some colleagues, and it's the most onerous and draconian letter I have ever seen. And it requires the practising firm, or whoever the accountant is, who's negotiating with the bank on behalf of a debtor or a creditor, depending where you are, to sign a letter to give various undertakings before the negotiations start. And some of the conditions are absolutely draconian. We don't agree with them, we don't accept them, and we're going to take the matter up with government and with the regulator. We'll move on to cost reduction. Is another matter which I'll just touch on. The Institute is, somebody didn't listen to Becky's message, the Institute is very acutely aware of the difficulty everybody experiences, that cash and costs are very, very important. And over the last 12 months, we have had a compulsory redundancy programme here where 11 people were made redundant, which is something that, a decision that wasn't taken lightly, but which was necessary. And we currently have a voluntary redundancy programme underway here. And we've had 6 staff members sign up for that at the moment. It's very, it's just to demonstrate to you that we are taking it seriously and that we do want to see costs kept under control. Finally, on this section, we're constantly striving to improve services to you, the members. And Becky and her team are keen to know what courses you want, what you don't want, what services you feel are of benefit. And please communicate to the Institute and say, I don't think that course is of any value. I think this would be better. We need to know and we need to get feedback from you, and we welcome it so that we can plan and do it properly. We'll move to the next slide. The theme of the conference is revival. And what are we doing for revival as the Institute? We'll get on to more positive messages here. We're boosting business at home as well as abroad. Each and every one of us in our daily lives contribute to the greater economy of this country. A lot of it is paid, a lot of it is volunteer time. Chartered accountants are to be found in every single facet of Irish life. And during the year we launched an FDI initiative. You can see my photograph there with Peter Robinson in Northern Ireland, and we have 3,500 members who work and live in 90 countries overseas. And this was an initiative targeted at them to say if they became aware of their employers, their colleagues, their friends, anybody who expressed an interest in investing overseas, investing in Europe, that they would encourage them to invest in Ireland. The initiative has been very well received by the governments, both the North and South, and I'm happy to say it has yielded positive results. The gathering is, as you're all aware, this is the year of the gathering, and we have supported the gathering from its inception. And we've been very supportive of the entire programme. We hosted here in March FEE, which is the Federation of European Accountants. They had their annual conference here in this building, actually in this room, in March. It was the first time in 25 years they had left Brussels. They came here at our behest. We have other programmes in the pipeline which will be unveiled as the year goes on. Many of the member firms are having gathering events. Many of our members are actively involved in gathering events and gathering programmes. And the Institute will support and assist you any way you can. We can't give you financial aid or give you grants, but we'll certainly give you advice and guidance. And Brendan O'Hora and the communications and marketing team will assist you in that if you have an event and you feel you want to reach out. We do believe in supporting it. Taxation as a policy lever. Brian Keegan, our Director of Taxation, you're familiar with him from the media and from the, primarily from the media and from e-news and from communications from the Institute. And he constantly makes submissions on our behalf with your views to government. Government is listening to the initiatives and to the requests we've put forward, and I'm happy to say that a lot of what we say has been listened to and has been put into action. The business plan guide. In the autumn, we launched, in conjunction with the Irish Bankers Federation, a guide as to how to prepare business plans. It was a one-size-fits-all guide so that everybody was filling the guide or filling the plan the same way, so that you could come along and be assured when you made this submission to a bank and you complied with what was in the guide, then in those circumstances you were assured that your loan was going to get a reasonable hearing. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get your loan, but at least it removes some of the roadblocks which were there. I mean, the whole issue of credit continues to be a big challenge for all of us in our everyday lives, whether it's a personal one or a business one. And to get the country moving and to get revival underway, the banks need to be fixed and there has to be a steady flow of credit. And personally, I don't see the evidence for it on the ground, but we have done our bit to bring that, to contribute to that debate, and it's something we're continually doing. Be positive. The Institute is the largest and fastest growing accountancy body on these islands. On this island, we have almost 22,000 members and we have 6,000 students. Our share of the student market in the intake in the autumn of 2012 was 51%, so that more than half of people opting to do accountancy decided to do chartered accountancy. And that's the best possible endorsement our brand can get. The students want to do and pursue a career as chartered accountants. We would hope, obviously, that that figure would become 100%. I don't think we'll get there, but Pat Coster and his team will certainly won't be happy until they have it at 99%. And we should all encourage people, if school leavers or university graduates ask you what career should they pursue, I think you should say, do chartered accountancy. Don't say accountancy, chartered accountancy. There is a difference. Chartered accountants, and Imelda, who's our next speaker, is evidence of this, are occupying key roles in all of the major businesses in this country. It's quite incredible when you actually look through the list of members as to the roles they occupy. And all of us make a very positive contribution to the economy in this country. Our speaker after Imelda is the Minister for Social Protection. She's a chartered accountant. So we've chartered accountants stretching all the way from government ministries into practice and filling everything else in between. Our members, as I said earlier, make a global impact. We have over 3,000 members. The slide says actually 3,500 working in 90 countries. I was in Australia recently meeting our members in Australia, and there are almost 1,000 young Irish chartered accountants in Australia. Now, they're all there by choice. It's not forced emigration. They're delighted to be there. But the overwhelming message from all of the firms that I met in both Sydney, Melbourne and Perth was that they would employ Irish chartered accountants over any other accountancy qualification for three reasons. One, the quality of the training and the quality of the qualification. Two, the work ethic of Irish chartered accountants. And three, they made great work colleagues. And that's very reassuring. And that came from Australian employers, every single one of them. They weren't just saying it to be nice. That the same message came everywhere. Our member firms, and we don't trumpet this enough, are the largest employers of graduates in this country. Every year, year on year, chartered accountancy firms, from the big four to the sole practices to everything in between, are the largest employers of graduates in this country. And that's it. If a new job was created in the morning and a new industry came in with 100 jobs, it would be top of the RTE news. We do this year in, year out, and we don't get recognition for it, but we are the largest employers. Now, as I said earlier, the 125th anniversary is on next Tuesday, 14th of May. We look back with pride on the people who came together, 31 of them, all men, on that day, and formed and had the vision to create the Institute of Chartered Accountants. And when they had their meeting in 1906, which was quite a few years later, their numbers had swelled to 139. So we have grown dramatically from those modest beginnings. And I'm very proud to say that we are an all-Ireland institute, north and south, with equal representation on both ends of this island. And that, when you look at our history, is something we should be very, very proud of. And the links between north and south in chartered accountancy is stronger now than they have ever been. And that's a tribute to all my predecessors and all of the people who have contributed to this great institute. Finally, and this is a message I have trumpeted throughout the year, if you're, and my blood actually boils, and I do have blood and it isn't cold, when I see people whom I know in the media describe themselves as accountants. If you're fortunate enough to be in the media, or unfortunate, depends on where you are, describe yourself as a chartered accountant. Be proud of what you are. That's who we are. That's what we are, that's what we do. And Chartered Accountants carries with it a great badge of achievement. So please, if you go away with nothing else from this conference, and I know there's lots you're going to learn, when somebody says, what do you do? Say, I'm a Chartered Accountant. I was filling up a form recently. Somebody was taking details from me. And they said, what's your occupation? I said, Chartered Accountant. And they proceeded to write down accountant. I said, no, I'm a Chartered Accountant. And they had to go and get another form, but I insisted on it. They weren't happy about it, but I insisted. So each of you have pride in who you are and what you are, because you have every reason to be proud of it.